Hi, welcome to the part 2 of this playlist. Google Professional Cloud Architect certification is what we are focusing on. If you have not yet subscribed, do so. It will help you with your certification preparations. There are so many different playlists on different certifications around Azure Cloud, AWS Cloud, Google Cloud, and so on. So be tuned, be focused, subscribe, and you will be informed through alerts. You can also become a member, Cloud Kernel or Cloud Ninja member, to gain access to all of these playlists. The paid content will help you prepare even further for the certifications. Let's focus on this question now. See, there is a compute engine. So for example, this is a compute engine and it has a persistent disk. So there is a disk here. Okay. And what does a disk store? This is for the data file. And this setup is used by a database. Okay. So this ultimately is a part of a database. Okay. Now what happens is you are running out of space. The database says, hey buddy, I need more space. Okay, so you are telling the database, okay boss, I will give you more space, but then the database says, boss, don't bring me down, there should be least downtime because there are production users accessing my data. If you take me down for a long time, it will be detrimental for the business. Now some people will say, how it will be detrimental, what will happen with 2 hours of downtime? What's so big deal? Because imagine railways, IRCTC is down for 2 hours. Imagine Amazon.com or Amazon.in is down for 2 hours. So many loss of business. See, with Amazon.com, people will switch to Flipkart for those 2 hours. Those 2 hours, if there are 100K transactions, that business is lost. IRCTC, there is only one railway, you don't have any other option to go to the competitor. So it will create frustration. You will have to wait up for 2 hours. After 2 hours, you'll have to connect again. So it leads to bad customer experience. Okay. Balls. We don't care for your customer experience. You only have one website. The way government works is देखो लेना है तो ले भाड़ पे जा नहीं तो. But Amazon.com cannot do it. They want to run business. They are not government entities. They don't have monopoly. So you will have to do something. Now what will you do? What will you do to increase the space? See, you have to increase the space because there is a problem with storage space. You have to increase the space. So how do you increase the space? This is the right answer. You would increase the size of persistent disk. This guy here, no, the data files are stored here. This guy here. You will increase that size and you will use resize 2f command. What resize does is runtime it will increase the size. You don't have to bring the system down. Resize 2fs. So a lot of time I see people don't trust what I am saying. So this is the documentation to support it. Increase the size of persistent disk. Okay, you can increase the disk size anytime. Whether or not that disk is attached to running VM or not, it does not matter. You can only increase and not decrease. Okay, to decrease the size, you must create a new disk with smaller size. And until you delete the original large disk, you will be charged for both the disks. Okay, so these are the steps how you can do it to increase the size of a boot or non-boot disk. Follow following procedures, and this is the step you take. If you see here, there is no stopping the VM. Okay, and resize the file system and partitions. So you can pause this and read it. And this works with both Windows VM and Linux VMs. So now what you do is option B. If you see, they are saying shut down the virtual machine because this is so problematic. The system will go down for some time. Then they are saying let us increase the persistent disk size and then let us start the virtual machine. This is exactly what we don't want. You want to minimize the downtime, or better would be no downtime. C says increase the size of persistent disk, and verify the new space is ready to use with fdisk command in Linux. First of all, nobody told us this is Linux or Windows, so why we are assuming that it is Linux? Second thing is it is trying to create a new space. You have to increase the same disk space. Okay, D is saying let us create a new disk attached to virtual machine, format and mount it. If you format and mount it, your data is gone. If you are formatting, then you are again trying to configure the database service and move the files to the new disk. So this is too much of work. It will require downtime. People will not be able to access the system for some time because moving the file, suppose it is petabyte of data, it will take so much of time. So this solution is it will take the maximum amount of time at least. And he says let's create a snapshot of the persistent disk, restore the snapshot to a newer disk, unmount the old disk, mount the old disk. Okay, why man? Why you have to do that? If you see some of the aircrafts in US, they can fill the fuel in the air. You don't have to land it, then you fill the fuel, then you fly again. No, you don't have to unmount it, take a new disk, mount it. No, the bombers, you can fuel them mid-air. That is what these guys have done. You can increase the persistent disk size mid-air. So option A would be our answer. Increase the size of persistent disk and use resize 2fs command in Linux. Okay. Now you may again say that okay, for this I told Linux, for here also we have Linux. Okay, but this is the better option. This assumes Linux, but then this uses the persistent disk increase using resize 2fs, which is meant for a runtime increase of the disks. See, you are a bank and you have credit card products. You want to process the credit card transactions. Okay, you want smallest scope of PCI compliance without compromising the ability to analyze transactional data and trends relating to payment methods. So you see, every time some transactions are happening, you want to do analytics on that data. Who's buying what is the wallet size of people who are buying. You want to do some analytics and trending, which is related to what? It is related to payment methods. These payment methods. And when you are doing all of these analytics, right, you are accessing that data, credit card information, payment details. You also have to comply to PCI. If you see this, PCI compliance is mandated by the credit card industry. Okay, so it is mandated means you have to do it. If you are staying with your parents, you have to follow their advice and instructions. Okay, you have to do it. It is mandatory. And if you are all set and staying with your spouse and kids, you have to follow what your spouse says. It is mandatory. The only choice you have is which beer you take, which alcohol you consume. Okay, whether you want to take weed or marijuana, that is your choice. Okay, a very important choice you have. Now, people, you have to understand when you are operating in with credit card data, you have to anonymize the data, mask it so that critical information is not visible by naked eyes. How do you do it? You will have to tokenize the data. What is tokenization? This is very important when you are dealing with personal and sensitive information. So we will anonymize or disguise the data with unique identification symbols called tokens. So anybody who hacks the data, they cannot see what is the data like. The tokens will be hiding it. Okay, and these tokens, they act as stand-ins for actual data. Like sometimes you don't go to college, you ask your friend, give a proxy attendance. So that proxy guy is acting on your behalf, allowing for safe and secure handling without compromising its integrity. Okay, so this token is acting as stand-in, but integrity is not compromised. I mean, the data is not exposed, data is not compromised. Nobody or bad players cannot hack the data and view it. So this is so important. Create separate projects that process only credit card data. This solution that fake people from Hyderabad, Telangana, they will propose. This is a bad solution. Just because you have a different project, different database does not mean that cannot be hacked. Okay. Now create separate sub networks. They are saying, boss, I know you can hack the data. So what I'll do is I'll create a small sub network within the network that we have, and we will isolate the components so that within that. So boss, do you think that sub network hackers cannot get in? Are they so dumb that they will say, oh, this guy has created a sub network, we now how can we get in? We cannot. So the jewelry in your home, just because you have hidden the jewelry under your pillow, does not mean the thief cannot steal it. So option D, it is suggesting. So you have these virtual machines. It is saying that, boss, virtual machines which process credit card data, you mark it so that at your home, you mark where you have kept your jewelry, like under the pillow, in the cupboard, and so on, so that when the thief comes, it is easy for the thief to spot where the jewelry is. Such a bad practice, man. Why will you mark and take no action? Now, E is saying that enable logging export, to BigQuery, and use ACLs and use to scope the data shared with the auditor. So what they are saying was, we will keep our database and everything exposed as it is. When auditor wants data, and to auditors they will provide special access. Okay, auditors, I am providing you access to my data. So will that stop hackers from accessing the data? No. See, hackers, do you provide special access to hackers? Hey guys, hackers, now I will provide you access to hack my system. No, they can get in anywhere and hack your data. So how will this solve the problem if you are not kind of. The second thing is, exporting the logs to BigQuery will not help. Why would you put the logs there? So option A is the right answer. Create a tokenizer service and store only tokenized data. So this next question is on click data. What do you understand by click data? Suppose you have a website like this, Flipkart. Now I may click here, I may browse here, I may click travel, I may click in. So this click data, number of clicks, is it for each user? If they are clicking 20 times on a website, it will track those 20 clicks. So like that, there will be so many clicks. So they are saying that 8,500 clicks per second, very high, and they store it for future analysis and user experience teams. UI team or UX team, what they do is they see the number of clicks and then see, okay, the guy clicked it, but it did not convert to a business. For example, there is some flash appearing for credit card. The guy clicked it, he understood what the product is all about, but did not apply for it. So they try to do that kind of analysis. Okay, uh, out of how many clicks a business conversion happens. So they are saying, boss, I have so many data coming in. Okay, 8,500 clicks per second. So in a minute, imagine how much into 60 in an hour, in a day. So huge. Ultimately, what I'm saying is huge data, lots of data. So you need a good storage. They are telling where you will store. Cloud SQL, it is a database, okay, fully managed database. So it manages your databases. So you don't have to manage. That is the use case why you use Cloud SQL. But whenever you get such high volumes of data, we never keep it in SQL type of databases like Cloud SQL. So Cloud SQL would be wrong in this case. But let us look at Bigtable. It is a NoSQL database with single digit milli latency. That means it is a database on steroid. It is a NoSQL database. When you get such high volume of data, for example, Uber, Lyft, these apps, they use such databases, NoSQL databases. Otherwise, they cannot give you the performance you require. Whenever you try to book, you want the booking to happen in seconds. You cannot wait for even a minute. So Bigtable is our answer. Now cloud storage, this is a object storage. Just storing it on object storage alone will not help. So its main purpose, no, it is unstructured data. That is the main use case. and it is also a managed service. So cloud storage is wrong, and then data store. Now data store is also a NoSQL database. It is highly scalable, but used for websites and mobile applications like Uber, etc. It is a highly scalable NoSQL database. But when we talk about comparison with respect to where to store these large click datasets, Bigtable would be the ideal place because for large volumes, it is meant for large volumes. Because what you have to do with these large volumes is do analytics. You are not plugging an app like Uber or front end. If you are plugging an app like Uber, then I would have told use cloud data store. But what you're doing is you're plugging some sort of ML application or AI application or simple BI application, or just do some sort of analysis. Okay. So that is why Google Cloud Bigtable is our final answer. So if you have not yet subscribed, do so. It will help you with your certifications. So many playlists, so many people have cleared AWS, Azure, Google Cloud certifications. They have put in their comments as testimonies. You can refer the comment section also. So start your journey. This is a professional certification. It if you add this in your CV, it will have big weightage. So this brings us to the end of part 2, and you can click the join button and become a Cloud Ninja member to gain access to the paid content that we will post. See you in the next part.